6 on the other team and 5 on yours. So right there's, kind of working within that system is a pretty important part to.
For a game with a lot of like inspiration from Disney animations, it's pretty complicated.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Blizzard in general, that's kind of their mastery. Blizzard is like the Pixar of game
Exactly.
making, where it's so simple on the, Pixar movies can be enjoyed by 6-year-olds, and then, you also love them as a 30-year-old.
Exactly.
Um,
All right.
cool. All right, I'll shut up.
No, you're good. I was gonna start off with some questions. Like, tell me about Moira.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the reasons I started picking her is because I just read about how dominant she was, and so it seemed like why not? Obviously, she has her nerf coming down the pipeline, but especially at the lower ranks, right? To pick a hero that you can carry the hardest with seemed like a good idea. Um, you know, I like her maneuverability, survivability, very strong, and obviously just the throughput on multiple targets, very strong. Um, yeah, it just seemed like a solid choice. The one thing that's pretty funny about her, and actually this is why ultimately I think I want to switch to Baptiste or Ana, not only because of the nerf, but I come from a really FPS background where I'm all about crosshair placement and crosshair discipline and even ammo discipline, all these kinds of, which comes into a little bit with Moira and her healing, but um, in general, Moira, you just like point in the general direction of like what you're trying to do. There's not a lot of actual mechanical um, intensity
There
when it
isn't.
comes to that. Yeah.
There isn't.
So, yeah.
Yeah. There isn't.
So yeah, I don't know.
What do you know about her abilities?
Yeah. So I mean, right, you've got 50 damage per second on your right click. You've got what's it? It's 80 healing per second on the left click right now, being nerfed to 65.
Yep.
You've got your
It's so actually I don't know
yeah.
if you were playing here, but at this point, but it used to be 65, so it's really a
Oh
revert.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no, yeah,
It was 65, and she just wasn't getting much like PT because Anna out healed her in every sense. Then they
yeah.
buffed it to 80
Mm,
to help her keep up with the healing, and then other stuff happened, and we ended up with this sort of broken Moira. But
wow,
it was always 65, or it was
just learned
65 for
something
a
new.
longer time. Yeah, so it's
I
really a
had
revert.
zero idea.
Yeah,
Cool. No, that's interesting to know. So it's kind of bringing it back to how it launched, how she was when she
right.
came out.
And the
Uh,
reason, a comment, just to comment to why Moira
yeah,
is
no,
so
sure.
overpowered is because the 80 just crosses the threshold of what certain heroes' damage could do.
Yeah,
So at a
for
certain point, you were quite literally feeding her ultimate charge because you couldn't kill a target based off the damage. Like Winston's gun didn't do anything.
yeah,
It didn't
yeah,
out DPS what she could output per click. So you literally quite feeding.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. I mean, that's always interesting. That one of the reasons, like when I do you when you ask me these questions is it is important to know specific numbers, and I think that's also again I might be a trash 1200 player that's trying to climb, but right, even knowing things like certain thresholds of like what ability will right, like you said, those thresholds where what out damages and what out heals what, to kind of understand that balance can be huge. 5 healing per second can be everything when you're up against something that is 5 or more or less than that exact threshold, right? Like,
right.
so
And again, I know you and your son were watching the Overwatch League. The reason that the DPS picks were Reaper and Doomfist was because they don't give a crap about this 80% threshold because they kill in one shot.
yeah, yeah,
A rocket punch doesn't care about your 80% threshold. It's just gonna punch you against the wall and kill you.
yeah.
So that's like it all blends together. Um,
Exactly. So when you change one thing, you change the other. The other thing that's I like a lot about her is actually, so right. I think the orb does 50 damage per second as
something like that.
well.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So combined together with your right click, I mean, you can actually take a ton of duels as Moira, um, and win them, especially in the lower ranks, because it's actually quite a lot of damage output, and people do not land their shots well.
Yeah, I was gonna cut you off for a second. Yes, in the lower
Yeah.
ranks, yes.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
in the lower ranks, absolutely. But then I'll comment on this. At a certain point, the right clicking just doesn't do much.
No, totally. And
um,
it's more about just managing, getting your resource back.
Exactly. Exactly.
so that you can heal. I want to be clear that as much as I just said everything that I just said, I'm not a DPS Moira. I understand my role as the support is that it's almost always better to keep the people alive who are damage doers than to let them die and do damage yourself.
Right.
Right.
Actually, we're gonna get into all that. So let's keep talking about her kit, and then I'll get right into that because you're thinking ahead of me already. But just for posterity's sake, so what does the shift do?
Yeah. So we have like a fade. Increases travel speed. Obviously, puts you in kind of this similar to the Reaper's ability. I don't know what else to say about it. Obviously untargetable. It's kind of can save you from everything. It's also great for doing little Moira jumps. Right, you can use it at the end of a jump to platform hop. Yeah, it cancels, like, right, if you're getting frozen, you can use it to escape. Did any of that make sense?
Yeah. And then what about the orb?
Yeah, the healing orb or damage orb or
Both of them
both.
in general. Like, how does
Yeah.
it travel? How does it act? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, so right, I mean, it travels in a straight line from when you leave it, and then it bounces off walls, right? So I think one of the things you really want to be cognizant of is, you don't want to just get one line value from your balls, obviously.
Right.
Right, it's all about geometry. It's all about anticipation. Where can I launch this that will end up bringing it back into the fight, or all that stuff. So,
Right.
which as I've said all this stuff, you'll totally understand that this is stuff that and then I'm sure we'll watch this video, and I'm sure I will mess up literally every single thing that
Everything
I
you just
just
said.
said. Literally everything I just said will end up being like, well, yep, that was a bad ball. Yep, that was a bad shift. Yep.
So the
But I mean,
next the next question
yeah,
would be you told me all the basics about her kit. So what does this make? What do all of these things make Moira good at?
multi-target healing,
Yep.
survivability.
That's the big one.
Um, yeah, I'd say those are kind of the things that jump out at me. Right, and if you think about weakness, she has very little range,
Yep.
right, compared to somebody like Ana or even Baptiste in
Right.
some sense. Um, right. Ooh,
Okay, so what
what
it
was it?
her
Sorry?
yeah, her weakness and range, it leads to like a further weakness.
Which would I guess, are you talking about healing wise, that she can't heal targets far away?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Distance.
distance,
She
yeah,
can't mess with distance.
yeah,
And she has no command of high ground
yes,
because in order for her to get there, she's got to waste her only good ability, which
yeah,
is her only her only movement ability.
yes.
So these negatives. So on the flip side of being good at high ground, what is she being bad at high ground? What is she really good at?
Like front line with the tanks,
Yeah.
behind your double shield. Just, especially she's so fun to play scrappy.
She's
You
that
know,
brawler scrappy. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
super
exactly.
fun to just get in there, just boom, boom, boom. And actually, she's pretty decent, I feel like, at chasing people, because you got that shift, and then you have both your right click and the orb
Yeah,
to,
she can punish a bit.
yeah, that
Um, she can't punish like a tracer can, but she can punish a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Especially for, I mean, we're talking about a support here, right?
Yeah, as much as a support can
As
do
much as
that.
a support can like go get that kill, she's probably the one that does it the most.
Right. She's the death ball healer. Perfect. All right, let's watch some video.
Great.
And I'll try.
Now that I've said all that, I get to thoroughly embarrass myself.
It's fine. Okay. Our first mistake is we shifted for no reason, and you didn't get punished for it because this is the SR you're in. In
Yeah,
a
yeah.
separate SR, someone might punish you for that. One of the big, I call them trigger cooldowns. There's a few of them in the game. A trigger cooldown is a cooldown that a higher SR team. Excuse my dogs. A trigger cooldown is a cooldown that a higher SR team will jump on.
Yeah.
That's trigger for them to start their fight. and one of those trigger cooldowns is more a fade. Because if like a Hanzo's on high ground, maybe like right here or something like that, and he's like, Holy shit, that Moira just used a fade. The rest of the team is just gonna barrel on in because they got 5-6 seconds where they can corner you down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's one of the trigger CDs in the game. That one, Tracer's Recall is a big one, right?
Yep.
Baptiste's Lamp is a big one. Big cooldowns, they're high impact cooldowns. You don't want to waste them. Rather, you don't want to get into the habit or practice of wasting them. You're not getting punished, so there's no feedback in actually getting punished for them, but you don't want to get into the habit of it now. That's one of these things that will translate the further you climb the ladder.
Totally. Right. Bad habits.
Right.
Get
We're
it
gonna,
right. It's
we're
just
gonna nip it in the bud.
It's like who has the right at lowest. It's just who has the worst habit, right? It's like everybody has bad habits.
Exactly.
But whose are even worse? It's like okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Monkey Jump is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Monkey No Jump, go kill him. Reaper No Fade. You know.
Yeah, I mean people yell that at every SR.
Exactly.
Reaper no fade, Reaper no
Go
fade,
get him! Go get him! Go get him!
Yeah.
So like, you know, if you're a DPS especially, an enemy DPS, the enemy DPS really pay attention to support cooldowns. Because the supports are their tickets, the enemy supports to a DPS player are their tickets to actually doing something in a fight. That's the barrier. That's the barrier of entry as a support. And so if they see that a support player has wasted an important cooldown, that gives them the rhyme or reason to actually be really aggressive in their play.
Makes
So
sense.
so if a Moira's got no fade, if Anna wasted a sleep or a nade, Baptiste wasted his lamp, Brigitte has no stun, those are things where the Hanzo's gonna be like, alright, I'm going in now. Because, you know why? Because the Hanzo's gonna be like, Moira didn't use fade, Moira used fade, so that's 5 seconds that I have of freedom. That means and a good Hanzo player would be like, you know what? In 5 seconds, I'm gonna gamble on myself to get that kill. That's what it is.
Yep.
Alright. So we ordered for chip damage, it's totally fine. Alright, so we know there's a sniper. We haven't pressed tab since the beginning of the game.
I think I might have actually started I think if you rewind it a little bit farther back, it's there.
Yeah.
I just started yeah.
We want to get that immediately. That's all the intel you can ever get is in your tab screen. Alright, so we lost one healer.
Who did?
We also know where the sniper bullet is coming from, so she's around here somewhere. What should you do, in hindsight, in a vacuum, what should you do right now as Moira? And where's your Anna, by the way?
She is to my right and dead.
Right. So just...
Right, I mean...
sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
And also Lamp is gone, by the way.
Yeah.
So now you have to think bird's eye view. The enemy has this field of vision right now. I'm going to do that in a different color. For free. This is all off to you right now. What should you do? Or where might be the best places for you to go right now?
Well, I mean, my thought process was to kind of stick right. I have this protection here on my left. I could fade into the house if I wanted. Yep, I could go there.
What's also in that room?
Health pack.
Yep. So we go to the left. We go all the way to the left. And now we're essentially doing a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah. Not a lot of value adding.
Right. So it's small things like that we just need to get into the good habit of. If you need to start being proactive to what the kill feed is telling you. But that's fine. It's totally okay. Another thing is I noticed you were just pumping healing into the Reinhardt. Mm-hmm. The more your healing happens over time, clicking it like more doesn't change that healing. Yeah, clicking it more doesn't change anything. Oh, good, nice die on point. I like it. But yeah, clicking it more doesn't heal him faster.
Yeah.
So you sort of have to feel the timing of it.
More tapping.
Yeah, more tapping or a sustained burst. Honestly, go into practice range with your son. Actually, it'd be kind of fun. Go into a custom game. He can be Reinhardt or a tank. You can be Moira. He can take damage, and you can see how much specific instances and lengths of spray heal up.
Yeah.
So it's like, how long does one continuous second heal up? How long does two
It's like
continuous seconds?
50 heal over time for 3 seconds, right?
Right,
Something like that.
right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and then you can pour over the numbers, but really see how it feels.
yeah.
And then what'll happen is, as you play more and more, even if she's not meta, as you play her more, you'll have a much better feeling for how much you should be spraying on a target. Because a lot of the time, Moiras will overspray and waste their resources, when in reality, the players they were spraying were probably dead anyways.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's an important thing to learn how to juggle.
makes sense.
Okay, your team is pushed up. Silver's weird, but the Ana's there, so they should be okay. The Reinhardt has now died twice, so I'm asking questions, but whatever. You don't need to throw an orb here. Um, Again, your Ana's somewhere.
Yeah.
No one's taking damage. And
Save it.
yes, and so here's the other thing that I see a lot of Moiras do. I'm actually just gonna X both of them. This person is very far away.
They are, yes.
The only way to really get them is to throw an orb over there. That's a waste of an orb. They're a squishy target.
And you're only gonna get one heal from the whole orb.
Exactly. They need to meet in the middle with you, where you can both do this safely. Because now we don't have an orb for the next 9 seconds. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at the next 8 seconds of play and see if we could have used it better.
Okay.
I know they comboed.
Yeah.
It's fine. Um, a good habit to get into in the Sigma ult is you could have used your orb while you were in the air.
Okay. So just throw it on the ground.
Yeah,
or
you queued it up so you queued it up to throw as you guys landed.
throw it in the air instead.
Yeah, yeah. Or even just spray like a crazy person. I know you don't have any, but just like throw the
Pop
orb.
everybody out.
Yeah, throw the orb right now. Don't look away. There's no head.
I was thinking about shifting away.
You should have
Yeah.
shifted away, but they threw a bomb. It's fine. Now you can't get out. But yeah, it's stuff like that. You can anticipate stuff like that. A lot of the Moira orbing. Oh wow. Sorry.
No.
Okay, a lot of the Moira orbing play is anticipation,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it is healing over time. It's not burst.
Yeah.
It's
not
not.
only that, it has to be anticipation because the last 10 seconds.
It's
you know?
always anticipation, so you have to anticipate. So you should throw in a healing orb when you know that your team is about to take a lot of damage. You shouldn't
Yeah.
throw in a healing orb when all of your team is on critical, because at that point it's too late.
Mhm.
So try to think a play ahead, or at least see where there's potential for them to take damage. If you start to see them take poke and you see that there's an engagement happening, then you can throw the healing orb. You could have maybe have killed that, but that's fine.
Just like right clicked it or.
Yeah, right clicked it, but it's fine. Okay, so one sniper's dead. They're both up top. The Reaper's gonna get the health pack. This is just gotta be awareness on your part.
Mhm.
Because he took the health pack.
He did, yeah.
You don't need to fade or do anything for him. Now, if he was critical and the health pack wasn't there and he was still critical, then maybe you can make a play to him. But at this point, you gotta wait it out and see what he's gonna do. Yeah, he took it.
He did.
And now you have no cooldowns in this small room.
Yep, and the extra damage from the orb on the way.
Right. So again, small things that won't get you punished in silver, but things that will get you punished in even gold.
Yeah.
You're honestly not right-clicking enough. Every little piece of chip damage counts, to be fair. You mentioned it earlier, like, the more of a right-click, especially at lower SRs, is like a good deterrent. It scares people.
Yeah.
They freak out and start doing weird stuff. So, and especially since there's a Genji and a Diva here, and a Sigma, feel free to use it. It's okay.
Makes sense.
Right now, even use it. So we talked about her.
Like, top my resources off.
Yeah, no one needs healing right now. So just right click. Yeah, like this. No one needs healing yet either. Keep right clicking. Yeah, there you go. You don't even need to fade out. He got booped. Now you can right click. Stay on him. Yeah, stay on him. Stay on him. There you go. Exactly. Throw a healing orb. That would have been a good healing orb.
Yeah. Oops.
No, you're fine. I'm just trying to narrate you to speed
no,
it so where you could be doing. You have no frontline tanks. You can fade out now. Not to the health pack because your Ana's right there with you. Fade into the back line. This is good. This is good. Get out. Yep. Heal, 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 heal. Throw a damage orb. You can throw a damage orb here. Because...
Instead of a heal orb?
Yeah, because look.
Yeah.
And what else is about to happen?
I'm about to get my ult.
Yeah, so you could have thrown a damage orb this way and then just coalesce them all.
Yep, push them all off.
Yeah. You have to keep track of your second healer. Because your Ana's doing a decent enough job to keep you up. Now you're dead. I talked about this in another video. It was for a DPS, or it was for a tank player, but the same concept applies to every single hero class in the game. It's always going to boil down, especially as a support player. It's always going to boil down to reactive versus proactive play. Always.
Yeah.
That will always be the razor's edge of good to bad Overwatch play. And I think you're just playing reactively.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing what is happening from the team, and then you're doing stuff as Moira. Moira specifically has to be proactive because literally her abilities take time to actually cast. So you have Coalescence.
Mm-hmm.
You can just heal up. This is fine. You're safe. You're fine. Just play the corner. You don't need to do anything right now. You know your range because you told me you know it, and you were right in knowing it. There's nothing you can do right now. This is the sort of invisible line, like right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. Your Reaper's about to go and do something crazy. He's probably gonna ult. Nothing here that you will ever be a part of until they actually engage. So just hang out safely.
Yeah.
Just hang out safely. You can't even Coalescence because they're all just gonna retreat because they're not close enough. Yeah, just hang out. What ability just got cast from the enemy?
Ooh, you'd have to wind it back for me.
This is where I paused it. So here,
Did I already miss it?
you missed two.
So I mean, I saw the big rock from Sigma.
Okay, what was before that?
I saw that was that. Honestly, not entirely sure.
Diva's missiles.
Ah. Okay.
So that's two pretty big abilities that are gone. You're not frontlining as a tank. They're really important in terms of the tank battle. But they're really the fact that a rock is gone and the missiles are gone tells me is that you can peek a little bit more forward because you're more safe from burst damage.
Got it.
Not in the front per se, but you can now be a little more aggressive.
A little more aggressive.
Maybe you can use Coalescence because they don't have a rock to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can use Coalescence offensively because they don't have missiles to burst you down a little bit. Reactive versus proactive. As soon as I saw that rock, I probably just wrote a one in.
Okay, no, that's good to know.
Yeah. Or even now. Even now. So, sorry, rock is gone. Go ahead. Rock is gone. Yeah, go ahead. Go.
You don't. I feel like you just gotta have the confidence, right? This is my first season, so sometimes I feel like I'm always a little bit like, well, I don't want to be the person to go in and die and have everybody flame.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather you. I mean, don't be crazy or reckless or throwing, but
a little more aggressive.
If you have an idea to make a play, I'd rather you try and fail miserably so then we can fix it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Versus
rather than being so passive.
Right, because then it's harder for me to diagnose and fix that problem because I don't know what the problems are yet.
Yeah, no.
But this is totally fine. You're playing safely. At least in this stretch, you've played very safe. You've done nothing wrong. You probably use a little too much healing. You don't need to use that because Anna just threw her grenade.
Yeah.
Anna does a lot of healing.
Yeah, that grenade is really strong. I mean,
Yeah.
so Anna's gonna be my next main probably. So I mean, I think it's important that you can play more than one support hero.
Yeah.
Whoop, and a terrible coalescence because everybody's dead.
Okay, so I don't even. Oh look, you got rocked.
Yeah.
Remember that last play I talked about?
Yeah.
Alright, so I don't gotta comment on that one. Kind of freaked out a little bit. It's
A
totally
little
fine.
panic.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I call them panic ults. Low rec uses them all the time. They freak out and they just use their ult because they think it's just gonna get, press Q to win kind of thing. Oh, winnable, maybe. Fade out.